Hey everyone, so today I'm going to do my labor and delivery story. I'm sorry I look a little rough. I'm going to do a shot of neyko and then a shot of my belly at the end. I'm going to try and do this really fast because my labor story was really long. I'm basically going to skip to when I got the epidural. By the time I got the epidural, I was already 3 centimeters dilated. Not much exciting news had really happened other than the fact that I was not expecting to go to the hospital at 12. I was expecting to be induced at 7, but I started having labor on my own before I went to my last doctor's appointment. So the epidural was nothing like what I expected it to be. The epidural is now put into a hollow needle and it's put into a tube, and the tube runs straight through your back and you don't feel anything at all. Well, you do a little bit, but it's nothing like probably what it could be. I'm sorry, I'm super tired. So it gets put through a hollow needle and it numbs your lower half of your back. The only negative thing I have to say about that was that only one half of my body was getting numb. I mean, the other half was getting numb, but just not as numb as my left. And that was a little annoying, so I kept trying to turn over, but I couldn't. Because every time I tried to turn over, Nico's heart rate would drop. And so it was a little difficult to deal with that, I guess. But that was the only bad part about it. After I got the epidural done, I got checked again. A few 2 hours or so later, and about 2 hours or so later, I got checked again, and I was 6 centimeters dilated, and I stayed 6 centimeters dilated up until 9 o'clock when my doctor came in again. He checked me again, and he checked me again, and I was still only 6 centimeters dilated, and he was basically like, at about 9 o'clock, he was basically like, okay, well, it's looking like we're probably going to do a C-section, and that sucked because I didn't want a C-section, first off, and 2, it was really looking like it was going to be a C-section. I'm sorry, hang on. So yeah. So that kind of sucked a little bit. That kind of sucked just a little bit. But other than that, it wasn't really that bad. I guess the contractions really weren't that bad, especially after they put the epidural in. And then, my doctor's like, well, it looks like we're going to have a C-section, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, well, we're going to wait on it. We're going to give you a little bit of time and see if you dilate any more. And if you dilate some more, then I'll consider not doing the C-section and yada, yada, yada. So I was like, okay. So my doctor goes home and he goes to sleep. And basically I felt like he was trying to push me to get a C-section. And I really didn't want one. But he basically was just like, yeah, you're going to get a C-section. So I got checked back and forth through that time period until about 1 o'clock. And he basically through that time period was like, looks like we're going to have a C-section at about 12 o'clock. 2 o'clock. So, yada, yada, yada. So at about 1 o'clock when I got checked, or about 12:30 when I got checked again, and I had, bless you, I still had yet to dilate, but 6 centimeters. So at that point, I decided, this has been a really long process. Everybody's tired. Let's just go ahead and do the C-section. Well, when I went to go actually do the C-section, and I decided I was going to do the C-section, my doctor decided that he didn't want to get up out of bed. He decided he didn't want to get out of bed, and he was going to stay home. And so he was basically saying, like, I'm not going to come and do the C-section until the morning, which totally pissed me off because I'm like, that's your fucking job. If I'm ready to do the C-section, you need to get your ass out of bed and come do this damn C-section because I'm fucking irritated and I want my baby and I want to go to sleep. And I couldn't sleep with these stupid fucking contractions. So they put me back on Pitocin after they took me off of it because they thought I was going to go do a C-section, and they took me off of it and then put me back on it, and then I was really pissed off, and I was just like, you know what, just up my epidural, and I'm just going to try and go to sleep, and we're all just going to try and rest until, 5 or 6 o'clock when the doctor comes in. So we're all basically preparing to have a C-section done, and so we're all preparing to sleep, and around about 2 o'clock she came in to check me again, and I was 8 centimeters dilated, which was exciting news, but at the same time it was still like, well, I'm only 8 centimeters, nothing else has happened, it's not that big of a deal. And she came back and checked me back and forth until about 3:30. And at 3:30, we were all sleeping, and, I started feeling like I could feel the contractions a little bit more. And I told her, to up my epidural medicine, and she goes, I can't. And I go, what are you talking about? She goes, you're ready to deliver. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, you're 10 centimeters. I can feel his head. And I'm like, oh my God. So I really started freaking out, and we wake my mom up and my boyfriend up, and we're like, it's time. And they're like, oh my God, what? It's time. And so they start prepping me for delivery. And, it was crazy because, we had sat there for a good almost 9 hours thinking I was going to get a C-section done, and then it turns out that I'm not going to get a C-section, and it was all in a matter of a few hours that everything changed. From 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I was 10 centimeters dilated and ready to push, and I went from 6 to 10 within a matter of a few hours, so it was really exciting. And it really felt like I needed to go poop. That's what it felt like. And I kept telling my nurse, like, I need to go to the bathroom. And she's like, no, you don't need to go to the bathroom. It's time. And so I was like, okay. So my mom had my left leg. My nurse had my right leg. And my boyfriend had my shoulders. And we started doing practice pushing. And I did like 3 or 4 of those. And by that point, she was like, wait, don't push anymore, because his head was right there. I wish I could show you what I'm talking about, but basically it looked like this. Like, this is his head, the blue part's his head, and this is my vagina. That's basically where his head was. And, and so she was like, don't push anymore, you're gonna rip yourself, just wait. And so I waited, and about 15 fucking minutes later, finally the doctor shows up. And that was honestly the worst part of everything, because I really couldn't feel anything else. Like, I could feel my contractions, sort of, and I could kind of feel my contractions a little bit, and I could feel myself pushing, but I would really hurt to just sit there and feel the contractions and feel myself almost stretching basically for 15 minutes. So he finally gets there, and everything really just goes really fast after that. They prep me, I put my legs up, and I bear down and I push as hard as I can, and I think I pushed maybe 4 times, and he was out. And it was really quick, and it was really fast, and everything went by so quickly, and so, like, it was done within a matter of a few pushes. He was out, and I actually had to get cut because he didn't want me to rip, and Neyko was born. He was 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Yeah, 6 pounds and 13 ounces or 11 ounces or something like that. I don't know how long he was, but he was pretty small. And that was pretty much it. And after that, the gory details of afterbirth. Nobody in their videos that I've seen tells what happens exactly after you give birth. And I really wanted to know, like, what exactly happens after you give birth. And after they actually pull him out, they cut the umbilical cord. And my doctor, he wrapped the umbilical cord around his hand and waited a second and waited until my next contraction. And he came over to me and was like, just push a little bit. And I pushed a little bit, and he pushes on my stomach and yanks my placenta out, which was really fucking gross, by the way, and I was really kind of uncomfortable with it, because I was like, what the heck? And then he pulls it out, and I'm still sitting there. Everybody's moving around, checking stuff, taking pictures. It was nuts. And in the meanwhile, my boyfriend's still standing there like a sweetheart that he is. And my mom came back to my side as well. And she's so awesome because she was coaching me through the whole entire thing. Just pushing me. So it was really amazing to have both of them there. And, they held my hand through the time that I was getting stitched up. And the stitching hurt just a little bit because, of course, I just pushed a baby through my vagina. And on top of that, my epidural was kind of wearing off, so I could feel little pinches here and there every time he put the needle through. And I think I got like 5 or 6 stitches done. He did not cut me all the way to my bum, which was great. I did not get any hemorrhoids during the pushing part of me delivering. I did not get hemorrhoids through my pregnancy, which is pretty fucking amazing if you ask me. Then, he stitched me up, and literally, I'm not even kidding you, within maybe an hour after delivering and all of that, I was up walking around. I could walk on my own. I mean, I wasn't, walking around, but I was able to get up on my own and walk around, and, it was pretty great. And to be honest, I did not really feel much of anything as far as, the birth goes. I thought at first that it would really hurt, to push him out. But honestly, the pushing part wasn't hard. It felt like a fucking relief to push. It was amazing. I totally love him. Everything went well. He's doing really good. His birth weight was 6 pounds, 11 ounces, or 13 ounces, and now he's 7 pounds and 11 ounces, so he's doing really good. I think he just put himself in a food coma, or in a milk coma. But, so that was my labor and delivery story. I'm just going to show you a quick shot of my belly, and then I'm going to show you him, and then that'll be the end of the video. Okay, just give me 1 second because he's feeding. So here's my belly afterwards. My boobs have gotten so big, they're engorged with milk. I went from a B to a double D. This is my stomach. My uterus still hasn't gone down yet, so that's why this is still kind of puffy. Um, but it's really not as big as it was, honestly. I'm not sure if you could tell, but it looks kind of big, but it's really not as big as my belly used to be. But yeah, so there's my belly, and here is my beautiful son. He's actually awake. In a lot of videos you see he's like the babies aren't awake. But he is awake and moving around and thriving quite well. And he's super strong. He can hold his own head up and everything. Well, he's not right now, but he can. Why are you making that crazy face, huh? Why are you making that crazy face? So yeah, so this is Neyko. Say hi. Hi. He's so beautiful in my opinion. But he's my kid, I guess, so I don't know if you could see him better that way, because his face looks so weird. I don't know why. His face is all like, ah. But his face really doesn't look that fat. It's just the way I guess he's laying. But he's super cute, and I love him so much, and it's a joy being a mother. And it honestly is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I did all that crying for nothing. But he's a really good baby. He doesn't cry at all. Like, I mean, you see, he's not even crying right now. He doesn't cry at all. He sleeps all day long. Like, he's an amazing baby. So that's my labor and delivery story. I'm going to do an update I'm going to do another update on Wednesday of, like, my first week out of the hospital. Even though it's only been, like, 3 days. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to wait till next week to do that. So you'll hear from me next week. Peace out, yo.